folks, it's Zach Elliott from Feel Free to Argue. How you all doing? I've been missing you. I've been off on vacation and went to Colonial Williamsburg, Jamestown Settlement, Busch Gardens too. I like riding roller coasters. Kids were of course all over the Busch Gardens part of that. I like the other parts too. I thought it was actually very interesting. May talk about a bit of some of that other stuff. Just wanted to say though that I have not been keeping up with the world at large. I've decided that when I was on vacation that I was going to take a true vacation and I was going to totally ignore the world and all of its stupidity for well over a week. Figured that there would be no great outbreak of sense, and from what I've seen reviewing the news since I got back, there certainly was not. A lot of obsession, all of it incredibly superficial, about these pirates that took over the ship over there. But of course, you know, you check out Democracy Now!, they talk about the history of that whole thing, and I thought it was just interesting, so I wanted to talk about that. I think it was Monday on Democracy Now! I'll post a link to that up in the bar. But I wanted to talk about this whole thing with the pirates, because I, of course, you know, on the way back, you know, stopped at a couple of hotels. They always have, you know, CNN or Fox on. They're all, you know, agog about the stupid pirates who took over that ship. And, you know, we're thrilled that our mighty American military was able to go and kick the crap out of a couple of poor people with a couple of AK-47s. Awesome. We are so rockin' as a country. But anyway, you know, if you look back at the history of this thing, it's like, well, why these people resorted to piracy? Well, you find out that it's just Somalia, of course, has been a complete disaster since we left. You know, not saying that we should have stayed or anything or even been there in the first place, but you know, it's basically a largely lawless country and has been for a long time. And but I mean, there's still, you know, kind of some semblance of a government, and what semblance of a government there's been there has been complaining bitterly to the United Nations about the fact that all of these ships, mostly from southern Europe, come and fish in their waters and harass, you know, the people from Somalia who are just trying to do some subsistence farming there, or maybe even get like a little bit of extra fish to sell and, you know, get some semblance of a normal life or something. And they've been getting nowhere. They, of course, you know, you're a poor country. Who cares what you think? You know, you're there to be shit on, which is basically what people have been doing to Somalia. You know, there's been a long record of toxic dumping there, which they've also been complaining about. Ships, you know, because Somalia doesn't really have its act together as a government, you know, it gets taken advantage of. You know, ships come and they drop toxic waste right off the coast of Somalia. Ships come in and bully their local fishermen. And now, you know, this one commentator was pointing out that you know, the Coast Guard, which is the way the Somalis think of these pirates, was succeeding in kind of pushing these large fishing trawlers from southern Europe out of their waters. But of course, now that the military's back, and our military's there and making sure that we're keeping things safe for this illegal fishing that other people are doing in Somali's waters, you know, they're not getting anywhere anymore. And just like he was talking about, I think it would have been Sunday, because he was talking about it happening the day before, a civilian kind of Coast Guard militia managed to encounter and capture this ship, which had these two huge containers on its deck, which it threw overboard when they saw the people coming. And they dragged these containers, which thankfully didn't open up, to the shore. Now they're, of course, calling for the world community to come and do something. Not that we're going to, because probably the containers are probably from New York City or something, or from someplace in Europe. And nobody wants the embarrassment of, you know, copping to the fact that we're running roughshod over this poor country, which is essentially what's happening. I mean, Amy Goodman made a funny comment. Well, actually, it was pointing out a funny comment that was made by Lawrence Summers, Obama's chief economic advisor, when he was talking at a conference a little while ago, talking about how, many countries in Africa are underpolluted, and the economic logic of dumping pollutants in a poor country is just impeccable. And I mean, he's claimed since then that he was joking, but I mean, it's one of those half jokes, where it's really, anybody who listens to it and is chuckling under their breath knows that he's really telling the truth. And that's exactly what we're doing. Because Somalia is a little piece of shit country that can't hardly run its own affairs, much less make a stink in the worldwide community. Everybody runs roughshod over it. They don't care what Somalia wants. They don't care that the people are starving. They don't care that, there's violence and bloodshed, etc. I mean, it's something that if they're forced to make a comment about it, oh, they just talk about how dreadful it is. But, that doesn't keep them from taking advantage of these people, while they're, busy not getting their shit together. So, I guess if, people know of, like, some important developments that took place in the last week, you can go ahead and leave them as comments underneath this video. I'm sort of slowly catching up. I know about the Obama's dog, by the way. No comments about the Obama's dog. But aside from that, if there was anything that was particularly newsworthy that like happened in the last week and a half, feel free to leave a comment down there and help me get back up to speed in terms of the information. And it's great to be back, and I'm going to be looking forward to catching up on some of the videos that I've missed, and just talking to you people at all. I miss you a lot when I'm off and doing my thing and kind of out of the loop for communication. But I also, by the same token, I needed a bit of getting away from the madness of the American political system and its incipient meltdown. Uh, and I got some other stuff to talk about, but I think that's enough for now, just as a catch-up, a little bit of a catch-up video. Be talking to you all soon. This is Zach Elliott at Feel Free to Argue.